Welcome to Let's See Where It Goes. First episode on this podcast with these lovely people. So I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourself. Let's start here. Bro, what's your name? What do you want people to know about you, man?
Sure, yeah. Name is Timothy Shamba. This is my brother-in-law right here for episode 1.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're here to see where the conversation goes. Happy to be here.
Let's go. Beautiful lady here, what's going on? What's your name? Introduce yourself.
I am Lauren. I'm Tim's girlfriend.
Woo-woo.
So it's been great spending time with the Shambas, the Osambas. So here we are, and let's have fun.
Yeah. Welcome. To my right, who have here there?
Hello, my name is Anna. I am Jadon's wife.
Oh yeah, you know that.
And it's been a good day. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and I'm actually looking forward to see where this conversation goes.
Oh yes. And who's there?
You already know who it is, what it do. It's your girl, Victus 2.0, but on the streets they call me Victoria. And this is my beautiful sister to my left. And I'm excited to talk. And again, as everyone says, see where it goes.
Oh yes. Welcome to Let's See Where It Goes. I'm just happy to have this conversation. And today we're going to talk about relationships.
Ooh,
so just in few seconds, in your own word, like when you hear relationship, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? The floor is open. Whoever wants to talk. Relationship. What do you hear what comes to your mind when you hear relationships?
The very first word that sparks in my mind is trust. I think the foundation of any relationship is going to be trust, whether a romantic one, friendship, work, client relationships. I think the foundation of all of these relationships is trust.
Trust. And I love it. I agree with the brother here.
Yeah,
Someone else.
good.
What comes to your mind when you hear relationship?
Connection. There's something mutually that's connecting you guys, whether it's a interest or work, or some type of feelings that you have together, but it's shared.
Connection. Yeah, love that. Trust, connection. What do I have here?
Yeah, I feel like for me, the first word that comes to mind is intimacy. I feel like just intimacy in the sense of connection, but some sort of deeper connection that relates or, brings two people together.
Nice.
I definitely would say that the number one thing that comes to me is connection, intimacy, just sharing things that you guys are both interested in together and kind of running with that. So.
Yeah, I love that. I heard trust, connection, intimacy. I think who said it? I think you said intimacy for you, it was like something deeper, right?
Yeah.
And I love how, Tim, you talked about any type of relationship, the most important thing is trust. So why then you guys think it's so hard to trust? Because right now, there's been some studies that shows that when it comes to relationship, we are struggling as a species. So why you guys think that it's so hard right now?
I think that trust can be hard in today's age because there's all these new things going on with technology and relationships and new pathways that weren't there before in the past with traditional relationships, marriages. So there's no set guidelines or advice. Everyone's out there saying something different.
Yeah.
So I think it can be hard for people to navigate certain situations when they're getting mixed, ways to do so, or they just don't know and they don't know where to look.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's really good. I was going to say something similar. I was going to say I feel like sometimes it's hard to trust when you haven't been given the right example. So maybe you grow up in a household where I don't know, your siblings, they don't get along very well. And so then when it comes time for you to interact with other people, you don't know what a good interaction looks like because in the home you didn't see that. So now you're trying to translate that to other people. And at that point, it's I don't really know how to navigate this. I don't know how to trust you. Or based off of what you experienced, I feel like there's just been a lot of hurt and a lot of I don't know, abuse, whatever, bullying, whatever the case is. And so if you don't have the best example, and then when you did try to trust people, you received a lot of backlash or just received a lot of negative consequences as a result of that. Now in turn to try and go out and reflect that or reciprocate that to others, especially like you say, if you don't have that guideline or example, or what are you basing your movements on when trying to interact with people, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly right, Vicky. I think that a lot of individuals don't necessarily see other people navigate complex relationships that have volatility and like watch how they weather that.
Yeah.
And so whenever it comes time, whenever like relationships are tested, it's very easy for people to take like the easy way out as opposed to trying to work through really hard things. And if you don't have that example, if you didn't see your parents do that, or if you haven't seen how people have like upkept a long distance friendship or relationship, then I think it's very easy to let the relationships like fall by the wayside, and yeah, hard to like maintain these things over long periods of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause,
I agree.
Because I was gonna say, I mean, just for me, like on a personal note, like my natural inclination when it comes to conflict is to run. I be trying to peace out. I be like, y'all be easy. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to. I got my own stuff, and I feel like lately I've really just been challenged and convicted. Like, no, good relationships, like friendships, whatever the case may be, like they're gonna go through some trials and tribulations, and if you want them to work, like you're gonna have to face conflict. But for me, growing up, when conflict came, we didn't talk about it. Like my siblings here, like we know we didn't talk through conflict. People got mad and then they went in their own corners. So now I'm having to try to undo some of the learned behaviors and patterns from the past. And I mean, it's fine, you know, it's part of growing up. I think some of those learned experiences that we had as we were younger kind of reflect in our ability to trust people when we're older.
Yeah. I really like this moment because it's like three of you guys grew up together. You guys are, you know, siblings, right? So how much would you say of the experiences that you guys had growing up shaped the way you guys view and see relationship? Or was it a lot of
Chile.
was it a lot of work for you guys to kind of redefine certain things? Was it like hard, or is it a pleasant process that you're going through? When I say pleasant, I'm not saying easy, but is it something that you are enjoying, undoing certain things, redefining certain things, wrestling with certain things? Like, what is the new approach? Because, like you were saying, like as everybody was talking, I feel like one of the important thing about relationship, like you need to put work in, and with pop media, if I can say, or pop culture, there's a lot of like, oh, you will know if it clicks, it's just gonna
If you
click.
know, you
Like a lot
know.
of people just think that it just like a relationship should just like flow directly, which can give the wrong idea. I mean, now I'm talking about my own opinion. My opinion is like there should be enjoyment to do the work in a relationship that is supposed to be right, but there's a work to be met. A lot of people just think that, oh, when they hear it should flow, it should just connect. They think, oh, there shouldn't be hard work to be done. Like if I found the person, everything's just gonna be flowing. But the way I understand, it's like, no, there'll be a lot of work, but if that relationship is meant to be, I will enjoy doing this work. Like even if it's hard, even if it's hard on me, even if like I don't necessarily like the tension, but because it is the relationship that I should be in, I won't mind to take those hard things to do, like those hard labor to see this relationship through. So yeah, hearing from you, the siblings, like how is that process?
Ooh, Chile. So let me speak for myself first. So I feel like it hasn't really hit me hard in like work relationships or like some friendships to a degree, but I think it's really come full circle in a talking slash romantic dating relationship for me. And it's been a lot of work. I mean, it's only been a couple of months with who I'm talking to at the moment, but like you don't realize like how much you picked up on as a kid until you're faced with it. Like I'm finding myself like having expectations for people that like I didn't know I had, like in the sense of like I have even extreme expectations for myself. Like we grew up in an African household where it's like excellence is the standard, which I love because, God has really allowed that perspective to like, provide a lot of like passion and drive. But then that same standard that I hold myself to, I hold another person to, but in my lens of excellence, like what excellence means for me, not what excellence means for that person. And so there's been good, healthy conflict in the sense of like, hey, like the other person's talking like, hey, I am growing, I am moving in the right direction. It's just going to be at the pace that God's allowing me to move. And I've been trying to have them move at what excellence meant for me at the pace that I determined was necessary. And so that was causing frustration on my end. And so it's just little things like that that I'm like, oh, I can't be in control all the time. Oh, I can't force you to move at my way. Like, oh, I can't. You're not going to have the same amount of passion that I do for every single thing. Like, so I think it's definitely come full force now. But I also think like you were saying, it has been enjoyable because you almost realize that like the mindsets that you had that I felt like were holding me back, I don't actually have to submit to them. Like I can think differently. I don't have to be a control freak, even though I spent 24 years of my life, 25 years of my life being that way. But like I don't have to, So it's almost like it's an opportunity to step into like a new self, but the work comes in acknowledging the old self and then putting in the work to create new patterns, which sometimes can cause friction. So
I definitely agree because like even like growing up, like she said, excellence was like the pivotal thing. Like we had meetings every single Saturday about the same thing, about what excellence looks like, what we were striving for, like where we are now, where we're going, how can we help. And I just feel like even in relationships, those expectations were also something like that I also had. For instance, like for my husband and I, like we dated for 5 years. Like I'm type A to the T, just like my dad, like 110%. And then my husband, he's not so type A, but he does have things in his own lens that he likes to do.
Oh,
that,
don't sugarcoat it. Just say what you're feeling.
we're
I'm
different.
a big boy.
We're different. But in that there's growing pains that come like in every relationship, right? So like there are things that I like to do and I like to set forth, but I know that he also compliments me in certain things. So I've actually had to release self-control and just kind of let it go, because I think that causes me undue stress and tension. And so I think overall, just like noticing like the things that I grew up with, like she was saying, like expectations are going to change, and they're going to change in whatever season you're in. Like from just talking to dating to married for 2 years versus 7 years to then on, like it keeps changing. So we have to be very flexible in those changes, and just recognize that it's not going to be perfect. So.
For me, it's a whole different perspective, I'd say. I think the biggest thing I picked up when growing up, I think just like my parents had such a different experience bringing us kids to the U.S. whenever they did. And like their priorities were so different, having 3 kids, being in their 30s in like a new country versus like what my priorities are going to be like in a relationship, right? So I think one of the first things that like I picked up at a young age was that whenever you move to a new country and you don't know people, you don't know the language, you're in your 30s with kids, you're almost in survival mode.
Yeah.
So like your priorities are completely different. Like you're not worried about having a great time. You don't want to like your priorities aren't like taking your kids to the lake to go camping or like to go out on like dates on weeknights,
Yeah.
And so like I think one of the things I picked up is that like I think it was very easy for me to like not be super interested in relationships because it was hard to see like where spark was sometimes growing up. And so I think for me sometimes whenever like the energy like simmers down a little bit and things get calm, and it kind of like reminds me of when you're not always trying to like spike the energy or like, have like a great time whenever you're just in this like subtle period.
Yeah.
Like that makes me uncomfortable sometimes, I guess, just from what I saw growing up. So I have to remind myself that relationships aren't always about having like a fantastic time or, expensive dinner dates or vacations, and to be like comfortable in those like slower periods, I'd say.
Can I add something to that? Because wow, my my interpretation of what we experienced growing up was the complete opposite. So for me, because I didn't see that growing up, in my head I was like, I don't need to do all that. I don't need to do like all the fancy dates and all that extra stuff. Like I could just sit at the crib, like watch a good, Amazon Prime show, Netflix show, and I'll just be fine. But like, who I'm talking to now, he likes to be outside sometimes. So, he was talking about like, we can just explore downtown sometimes or like go out and do fun things. And in my head, I was like, why we need to be outside? But, but again, like, it's good to like, every now and then, like just do fun things. But it's just interesting how your interpretation was like, oh, I want the opposite. I want the fun, the excitement. And for me, I was just like, nah, I'll just be booing and I'll be fine. So it's just,
It's funny how
different
people react to that.
perspectives. Yeah.
Yeah.